Delhi is one of the most popular cities in India and the gateway to the country's heartland. As such, it is no surprise that its airport gets more than 73 million footfalls every year, comprising of both Indians and foreigners. So, how is this massive enterprise managed?
It is said that when more people fly, it usually means that our country is doing well. So, if you see airports getting busier and busier, it's a sign that more folks have money to travel, businesses are expanding, and our country is connecting with the world. And that's exactly what happened with India in the early 2000s. Back then, India's aviation industry was taking off, quite literally. And at the same time, the Indira Gandhi International Airport of Delhi was bursting at the seams. In just the first half of 2005, over 9 million passengers passed through its gates, which was a sharp rise from the previous years. When you touched down, instead of a seamless experience, you were met with overcrowded terminals, long queues, and outdated facilities. For a nation on rise, this was hardly a welcoming mat which we wanted to roll out. Adding to this, in 2003, India had won the bid to host the 2010 Commonwealth Games. And this wasn't just any sporting event. For India, it was a golden opportunity to showcase its progress and ambitions on the world stage. The Commonwealth Games were expected to attract over 8,000 athletes and officials from 71 countries, along with a significant number of international tourists and media personals. And this influx suggested that our existing airport infrastructure was painfully inadequate to handle the anticipated surge in the air traffic.
India needed a world class airport, but there was a problem. The problem was money, or we should say the lack of it. So they made a bold move, a public private partnership based model. Think of it like this. The government said to the private investors, you build and operate the airport, will retain some control, and together we'll make it a global hub. A 30-year concession agreement sweetened the deal, offering players the incentive to invest, knowing that they had time to recoup their cost and makes profit. The deal was clear. Government kept 26% stake for oversight. Private investors had 74% and bore financial risk. A revenue sharing model ensured that AAI received 46% of airport's earnings. The impact was transformative. By 2010, IGI unveiled Terminal 3, one of the world's largest terminals handling 37 million passengers annually. New runways, faster baggage systems, world class facilities turns IGAI into a global aviation powerhouse. But
In 2004 began the bidding war for the big airport modernization. The government had three options with them, that is to go with either profit based bidding, people based bidding, or revenue based bidding. The government decided that the bidding would be based on who was willing to share the most revenue with them. This kind of revenue sharing model is quite common in these types of public private partnerships. This model ensures that the government continues to benefit financially from the privatization for a long run. But it wasn't just about the money. Other important criteria were also looked at, like how well the companies could manage an airport, their past technical expertise, and their financial strength, of course. The evaluation process was designed to assess two things. The first was management capability and commitment, and the second thing was development capability and commitment. Each of these criteria was assigned specific weightages to ensure a balanced and comprehensive assessment. Through a global competitive bidding process, the Government of India received several bids from very strong contenders throughout the world. Some of them were Reliance ASA Mexico, DS Construction Munich Airport, Sterlite Macquarie Aeroports de Paris, and SL Group TAV Airport Holdings. After months of evaluation, a team between GMR Group from India and Fraport AG from Germany were chosen as the final winner. They scored the highest in evaluation marks, the top marks in both management and development capabilities. The reason for choosing this was very simple. Fraport AG's extensive experience in managing Frankfurt Airport, one of the busiest hubs in Europe, complemented GMR's local expertise in India, making their proposal stand out to the government. After the GMR-Fraport team won the bid, the next big step was forming the Delhi International Airport Limited, or DIAL. DIAL was set up as what's called as a special purpose vehicle, or SPV. What's an SPV, you ask? SPV is a separate legal entity created for a specific project or business purpose. You may think, why create a whole new company, right? It's because it allows for a more focused approach where all the attention and resources are dedicated to the airport project. It also helps in managing the complex finances and operations of such a massive undertaking. It also helps to reduce and mitigate many types of risks associated to a very big project. What's also interesting is how Dial was owned. Have a look at the ownership and control. It wasn't just the GMR Fraport team. The Airports Authority of India, AAI, which is a government body, also has a 26% stake in it. This mix of private and government ownership is what made it a solid public private partnership. It's like having the best of both worlds, the efficiency of a private company and the oversight of the government.
Let's break down the money part of the Delhi Airport project. There are two main ways the airport makes money: aeronautical revenue and non-aeronautical revenue. Aeronautical revenue is all the money that comes from actually flying planes. Think landing fees, parking fees, and all the charges that airlines pay. Non-aeronautical revenue, on the other hand, is everything else. This includes things like shops, restaurants, advertising, and parking lots. Basically, all the money that comes from passengers and visitors, but not directly from the airlines. And guess what? Delhi Airport makes way more from the non-flying stuff. To give you some concrete numbers, according to recent reports, Delhi Airport's aero revenue stood at rupees 853 crores for the first 9 months of the current fiscal year, while its non-aero revenue came in at rupees 2,420 crores. That means that the non-aero revenue is nearly 3 times more than the aero revenue. A deeper breakdown of these figures shows that 28% of the non-aero revenue was from retail and duty-free, while 18% from space rentals. Food and beverages form 10% and cargo 14% of the non-aero revenue. What's worth mentioning here is that the spending per person at Delhi duty free was rupees 1,026 rupees for the first 9 months of the financial year. So all those shops and restaurants that you see at the airport, they're actually bringing in more money than the planes themselves. This is actually quite common in modern airports. They are like big shopping malls with planes attached.